Okay, if you've been outside in the evening, you know the great beetle invasion has begun. You're probably seeing them flying around your head, around your lights, maybe clinging to the screens on your windows. Let's talk about this because those beetles could be doing damage to your yard during the day, but also gearing up for a real problem in the fall. Let's talk about it. Okay, there are lots of beetles flying around right now, and not all of them are a problem. Some of them are actually pretty good. But the biggest ones we're watching for right now that could be the most notorious are the Japanese beetles. You'll know them because they're brown and green. If you have roses, you're probably well familiar with them. Even many vegetables. So they have lots and lots of hosts, but we always get calls because of the roses and some of the other issues on popular plants. So look around your yard. Are they a real problem? If you've got a few beetles, one or two here and there, I don't worry about it. If customers are always coming in saying, usually, because they like to feed in mass. When they find a food source, they swarm it, they eat it. You can come out one day and it just looks like a skeleton of a plant left, into just the little veins of the leaves maybe left. And they can just really do a lot of damage when they like what they are eating. And so, number one, control, yes, you can pick them off. And if it's not a lot of them, that's a great environmentally friendly way of controlling them. There are the nuclear options. Yes, there are a number of chemicals that will control beetles. The problem with those is many of the plants that beetles are eating are also great pollinators. And so that adds it a little bit more of a challenge. So if you're going to go the chemical option, please make sure it's pollinator friendly and try never to get those chemicals on the flowers themselves. My experience is bees or other pollinators are just going flower to flower. They're not usually crawling around the plants, but sometimes they do. So you want to be conscious of that and be very selective on what you do. And do not ever use a product like 7 Dust that is rated for beetles and lots of other insects because that is highly toxic to bees. So be selective if you're going the chemical option. And so there's lots of home remedies. The most common one are the traps. Let's take a look just to make sure you understand what I'm talking about. All right, so this is a classic Japanese beetle trap. The way these work is it comes with a lure, lures down in the bag. It draws the beetles in the top. Then they get trapped inside, almost like a lobster trap. And then they die inside the bag. These are heavy duty, reliable. The lures that come with them last about 8 weeks. And they help last the core of the breeding season when we have these beetles. Now, historically, I was not a big fan of traps. Rescue, from my understanding, has changed the lure. So it's one lure that lasts for the 8 weeks, but it also attracts the male and female beetles. That's different than some traps. Some of these traps only attract one sex of the beetles. We want to get rid of all of them, especially the females before they lay their eggs. So that's suppose a new improvement on these. If you didn't get it, the lures itself, you hang these in the different parts of your yard. So if you want to put it out in the middle of your lawn, yes, you would have to put a hook or something, but you can hang these off a bush, off a tree. But it is a nice, effective way to control beetles without having to use chemicals. No, actually, I was just talking about the traps, but I almost feel like we should back up a second. Why are these beetles even a major issue? Because there's a bigger problem going on. These beetles are going to be spending their time not only eating your plants right now, but they're laying around. There's a party going on. It's breeding season. These beetles spend 3/4 of their life in your lawn as a grub eating your grass, or eating rather the roots of your grass. Now it's summertime, so those beetles are flying around. Not only are the Japanese beetles doing damage to many shrubs and flowers and perennials at this time of year, but they're breeding. So the female is going around and looking for a food source for the eggs. So she's going down to your lawn. So yes, you might have had a grub problem last year, and that could be why you have so many beetles this year. However, these beetles fly for a mile. I mean, they have a big territory. So if you have the plants that they like to eat, they're drawing them into your yard. And then those females are going to lay their eggs on a nice green patch of grass. And then the cycle is going to continue on and off all summer long until about mid-August. So right now, if you're seeing beetles in your yard, it's a warning sign that you could be getting grub eggs laid all through your lawn. It's apparently a pretty bad beetle year, so therefore that means it's going to be a bad grub year. So The best way to interrupt the cycle right now are to use traps or chemicals to kill and control the populations in your yard, and then go through and hopefully help cut down on the population and how many grubs you may have. Also, put down your preventative grub controls. Make sure you get those down soon if you have not already. So therefore you have chemicals in the soil waiting for the grubs to hatch later in September. Now, just in case you didn't have it, I did mention protecting your lawns. So beetles are a pain. Do what you got to do to get rid of them. Then turn around and make sure, like we mentioned, if you didn't put down preventative grub controls on your lawn, it's not too late. Just make sure if you do put it down, I should make sure to say, water it in, because it needs to get inside the tissues of the grass. The grass will suck up that chemical as it's going through, and it only kills creatures that are eating the grass. So therefore, it's a little bit more environmentally friendly approach. Also, there are products that most people don't realize that are like milky spore, nematodes. These are natural products, natural bacterium that are in the soil. What we're doing is just applying it in a manner that super concentrates it so that we can get ahead of Mother Nature. Because these Japanese beetles and some of these other beetles, when it's a bad grub year, if you've ever experienced it, your grass could look beautiful one day, and then overnight it almost looks like it was rototilled. And I had one 30,000 square foot lot over the years that it was almost the entire lot was chewed up. So take it serious if you love your lawn, and but there are environmentally friendly ways of doing it. We have other videos on those, but I hope that helps. Take care.